Hello, Algebra 1 students. Um, we're going to continue working on the study guide. This is number 3. Since number 3 is a short problem, I'm also going to throw in number 4. All right, you're going to get a 2-for-1 special in this video. 2-for-1, 2-for-1. Don't say I don't give you good deals. All right, so check this out. Number 3 says, each of the 10 students in the baking club made 2 chocolate cakes for a fundraiser. They all used the same recipe, using C cups of flour in total. Write an expression that represents the amount of flour required for a cake. So the first thing I want to do is I want to know what it is that I'm talking about. So the problem says that we have 10 students. So, okay, we know that we have 10 students. We know that they made 2 chocolate cakes. And we know that they use the same recipe. But guess what? The important portion of that sentence is that they are using C cups of flour in total. So we know that they're using C cups of flour, but we don't know that amount. We just know that that's the total. So the question says, write an expression that represents the amount of flour required for one cake. This is where we have to get another piece of important information. We got to know that we're looking for amount of flour for one cake. I'm going to circle the one cake because I want to make sure that I understand that out of the 2 total cakes that were made, we're only looking for one of the cakes flour use. So check this out. I know that they used a total of C cups. This was their total. But guess what? Don't let that throw you off. Since we're trying to go backwards and figure out how much they use for just one cake, not for all the cakes, not for all 2 of them. We're looking for just one. We're gonna have to take that total amount and divide it by the amount of students and the amount of cakes made. So we have to take C and divide it by 10 times 2. Why 10 times 2? Well, because we have to, like I said, we have to divide it by the amount of students and the amount of cakes made. So we can either leave our answer like this, C divided by 10 times 2, or we can just multiply the denominator and end up with C divided by 20. And that will give us, this is our expression that gives us the amount of flour required for one cake. That was it, all right? So next up, we're gonna go ahead and look at number 4. If you wanna pause the video and rewind to understand number 3, go ahead, do that. That is the beauty of making videos. You get to rewind and fast forward whenever you understand something. But we're gonna go ahead and continue with number 4. What is the x-intercept of the graph negative 5x minus 3 is equal to negative 3? All right, whoops, I think I read that wrong. Negative 5x minus y is equal to negative 3. Then it says, find the slope and y-intercept. So check this out. I'm going to go ahead. Whenever I do these problems, I'm looking for 3 components, right? I'm looking for the x-intercept, looking for the y-intercept, and I'm looking for the slope. All right, so I like to divide my page into 3 parts. So part 1, that's for my x-intercept. Part 2, that's for my y-intercept. And then this bigger chunk is for my slope. So check this out. I ended up with negative 5x minus y is equal to negative 3. What I'm going to do is, since I know I'm solving for the x-intercept, so the x-intercept, I'm going to put it in the bottom. That way, I just write down my answer down here. Since I'm finding the x-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of the y. Get rid of the y. Cross it off, do whatever you want, but get rid of it. I don't want to see it. Next up, I'm going to rewrite what I have left over. I have negative 5x is equal to negative 3. Now I'm going to solve for x. So that means I have to divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. We have to divide on both sides. That looks ugly. My writing with this pen is not that good anymore. So let's see. Negative 5 minus negative 5. Whoops, what happened? The negative 5s get canceled out. I get x is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 5. We're not going to type that into a calculator. We're just going to keep it as a fraction. But since there's 2 negatives, we get rid of the negatives. And our answer is 3/5. So our x-intercept is going to be 3/5 comma 0. That is our x-intercept. All right. Next up, our y-intercept. So for our y-intercept, we still start with the same problem. 5x minus y is equal to -3. All right. So let me just write y-intercept so that way I know I'm solving for the y-intercept. Y-intercept, don't forget the little dash right here. Oh my goodness, my writing is so ugly with this pen. All right, here we go. Y-intercept. All right, so since I'm solving for the y-intercept, I'm gonna go ahead and just get rid of the x. Cross off the x, cross off the -5, get rid of it. You don't need it. So that means you have -y is equal to -3. Are we done? We are not done. We have to get rid of the negatives. So to get rid of the negative, I got to divide by -1 on both sides. Divide by -1. The negative and the 1 gets canceled out. Since I have two negatives, 3 divided by 1 is still equal to 3. So, -3 divided by -1 is still equal to 3. So I have y is equal to 3. So my y-intercept is going to be 0,3. That is my y-intercept. That is my y-intercept. All right. Next up, I want to find the slope. So what is my slope? My slope gets found in a different way than the x and y intercepts. So I'm going to have to rewrite my equation. Still, 5x minus y is equal to -3. Now, when I solve for the slope, when I try to rearrange my equation from standard form to slope intersect, I have to solve for y. Basically, I have to make y be by itself on one side. So I got to get rid of that -5x. I'm not going to get rid of that -5x like I did for the x-intercept. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead do the opposite of -5x. I'm going to add 5x to both sides. Plus 5x, plus 5x. Boom. The 5x's get canceled out and end up with -y is equal to -3 plus 5x. Now, am I done? Have I solved for y? No, I still have not solved for y. I have to divide by -1. If I divide by -1, I have to divide by -1 on both sides. But guess what? There's two things on the other side. So I have to divide by -1 on everything. So we get -y divided by -1. The negatives get canceled out. I get y is equal to -3 divided by -1. That is +3. Positive 5x divided by -1. That gives me -5x. So my slope, whoops, what happened here? My slope is equal to -5. This is my slope right here. Is equal to -5. Okay? We are done with numbers 3 and 4. If you have any questions, well, guess what? Pause the video and rewind. All right? See you guys in the next one.